And let me be more specific. You are now living in an oligarchic form of society. Some of you may have noticed when Trump was inaugurated, seems like 20 years ago, but it was just a few months ago, standing right behind him were the three wealthiest people in America, Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, Mr. Zuckerberg. You know those guys. And then seated right behind them were another 13 billionaires who Trump had nominated to head various major government agencies. So I don't have to tell you or the American people that today we have a government of the billionaires, by the billionaires, and for the billionaires. I don't have to tell you because Mr. Trump did already. Today in America, we have more income and wealth inequality than we have ever had in the history of the United States of America. Now, what I'm going to tell you doesn't get on TV too much and certainly not discussed in the halls or the floors of Congress. You got one man, our friend Mr. Musk, who owns more wealth than the bottom 52% of households in America. You hear that? One person owning more wealth than over half the households in America. You got in America today, top 1% owning more wealth than the bottom 93% of Americans. You got CEOs in America now making 350 times what their average employees make. So bottom line, you got the people on top. Never in the history of this country have done better than they're doing it today. And it's not just income and wealth inequality. You got more concentration of ownership in America, in every sector of our society, whether it's agriculture or transportation or financial services. You got a few giant multinational corporations who control what is produced and, more importantly, the high prices for the products that you pay. Bottom line is that in the wealthiest country in America, in the history of the world, we have two Americas. One America, people on top, doing phenomenally well. But there is another America that I suspect the people in McAllen are very familiar with. And that is that while the 1% is doing extraordinarily well, there are millions and millions of families in Vermont and here in Texas who are struggling to pay the rent, struggling to pay for health care, struggling to put food on the table, to pay for child care and other basic necessities of life. And again, I hope you hear this because you're not going to see it on TV very often. Today in America, 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. You all know what living paycheck to paycheck is about? Yeah, I'm afraid many of you do. I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck. And what that means is you got people, mom, dad, working hard, sometimes 50, 60 hours a week, just trying desperately to bring in enough money to keep the family going. And people are worried. What happens if the rent goes up? What happens if the car breaks down? What happens if mother gets sick? And suddenly the whole thing could unravel because people have literally no money in the bank. They're living paycheck to paycheck.